Good evening, SUPERTOHOREMIX here, bringing you another channel update. First things first, I hope you all enjoyed Mechagodzilla month. I worked pretty hard towards that, and I'm glad that that work seems to be paying off. Right, I'm going to try and make this update video as quick as possible. So, first things first, as of the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a breather, just so I can be recharged to produce more mashups, and also within the next couple of days, I should be able to get back on with production of Project 8, the Project 8 fan film. The reason that's kind of on hold is because at the moment, family relations are home. I had to put the set away, as I may have mentioned before. I can't remember off the top of my head, excuse me. So once person in question leaves the house in my care again, I will be taking that set back out and I will continue shooting. So that's that. And then, as I mentioned in regards to mashups, after Mechagodzilla month, I'm thinking of taking a little bit of a break because I don't want to burn myself out. Need a little bit of recharge. I mean, I've got some ideas, but I just want to make sure that I want to have a little break on a high note. That being said, though, I do have one completed mashup, and I'm currently working on finishing another. Excuse me. So I'm debating on holding those off for a little bit, or ending this so-called season, per se, with those two mashups. I'll have to think about it. But if I were to release them sooner rather than later, I'm thinking maybe, as a little treat for you guys, and as a thank you for your ongoing support, which has been really awesome, I'm thinking maybe if I'm feeling up to it, on the 31st of August, I might release both mashups on YouTube at or around the same time. Call it a double event, if you will, if you were to go by Pacific Rim. So, well, how should I put this? One has been highly requested, and as a hint for the other one, all I'm going to say is this. It's not what you expect. That's all I'm going to say in regards to the second mashup in question. I'm just trying to think. So that's that covered. You guys know I'm taking a little bit of a breather, a little bit of recharge. Going to get back on with Project 8. Oh yeah. For those who have been waiting for my next Jurassic Evolution video, 3 things. 1, due to real life and family relations, I haven't really been able to get around to making another installment of that. And 2, I kind of felt a little bit of burnout with that game, to be honest. That being said, though, some good news. Frontier are coming out with a patch at some point in the near future that will include some very welcome updates. One being a major patch to the carnivores in which they will no longer be murder machines, and also something that should have been done from the get-go, carnivore sizes will change. So T-Rex will no longer be the absolute biggest, which, thank you Frontier, seriously, what took you so long? So once that patch is out, I believe Frontier are doing a stream of that patch on the 29th of August. Once that patch comes out, I'm going to get back into the game again, and I'm going to see if I can crank out another video, because I have noticed there is not much but some support for some of my Jurassic World Evolution material, which I appreciate. So I will get back to that once they've added a bit more to the game, thus there'll be more meat to show off. So that's Jurassic World Evolution. I've mentioned Project 8, and I'll be continuing production with that. In regards to the Godzilla fan film Project 8, no promises, but if I can work my arse off up until December, I am hoping at least to get shooting wrapped up before the end of the year. And as for post-production, a 2019 start would be most ideal. I'm only saying this because, as far as I'm aware, I am going all in with this. If for those who watched the Garuda Mechagodzilla month skit, you'll notice some little stop motion animation in it. that is a little tiny, you could consider that a little tiny sneak peek of the type of quality stop motion animation you'll see in Project 8. Because when I made that skit and when I was doing the Mechagodzilla segments, I could not bring myself to do just a couple of photos and then trying to snap them like slideshow fashion. Excuse me, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I kept nagging myself, you can't just do it that way. You can't do it like seemingly everybody else. Animate it, stop motion, animate it, get the damn thing animated. So I actually managed to get a few tiny seconds of stop motion in that skit, which I'm actually quite happy they turned out as well as they did. So, yeah, Project 8, go try and carry on shooting. Now, once shooting's done, then I should start trickling out some more intricate details. At the very least, the actual real title of what the fan film is going to be called, which I think once you guys know what it is, I think you might get some enjoyment out of it. And as far as I can think off the top of my head, I believe that's all there is for this update. Oh yeah, for those who did enjoy the Mechagodzilla month skits, I hope they were somewhat enjoyable. The idea of those came about when I was thinking to myself, okay, I want to try and make some announcements for some of the, at least for some of the mashups that are going to be participating in the Mechagodzilla month takeover, in the Mechagodzilla month. And I was thinking to myself, rather than give out the boring old generic announcements of what each mashup was going to be, I decided to myself, let's have a bit of fun with this. So I dug out 2 bootleg Gundam toys I've had lying around for a while, which I was going to save them for something else, but I decided, for this occasion, why not? Let's use them. And I did something I have not done in years due to fear, reluctance, and have a go at voice acting, if you can even call it voice acting. For those who don't know, must have been at least 10 or slightly more than 10 years, I did these sprite animation videos involving Sonic OCs, and I tried my hand at voice acting in those, and looking back at them now, as a good friend of mine described it, I sound like an angry Liverpoolian. So yeah, I am not particularly proud of those. However, at the same time, on the other side of the same coin, for the skits, I actually decided to have a bit of fun with those, and I thought, I can't voice act to save my life. I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to have some fun with it. So I ramped up the ham to 100, and thus Gargamot and Kelzamort were born. And their voices, Gargamot's voice is based off a general from Dynasty Warriors 3. I believe he's the general for the Yellow Turban. That's what I based Gargamot's voice off from. Kelzamort's voice is basically my normal voice, but I decided to try and make it pitched higher and slightly softer. So there's nothing much else to Kelzamort in that regard. He's basically just happy-go-lucky, has empathy with anyone and anything sort of thing. So that's why I decided to go with Kelzamort, because I figured with Gargamot and Kelzamort, I wanted to try to make them distinct. So you've got Gargamot, who's very arrogant. He thinks he's the best at what he can do. You know, he wants world domination. And then you got Kelzamort, who is actually good at what he does, and as a result, along with his personality, often undermines and severely annoys Gargamot. So I like to think there's a decent chemistry between the two. And then in the last skit was the introduction of Gargamot's father, Cosmodamos. That name I literally just thought of at the top of my head and on a whim, because like, okay, I wanted to give his father's name, to be something freaking cheesy. I wanted it to be cheesy to the point of giving you diabetes cheesy. So yeah, I went with Cosmodamos, which is basically a mixture of Cosma and Nostradamus, and then I literally swapped Damus with Darmos. So that's the reasoning behind that character. So, oh yeah, and the voice for Cosmodamos, I basically just did the scratchiest, deepest heavy metal voice I possibly could. Then I blended it through a black hole and tried to make it sound even more deeper, which, unlike some of my past efforts in regards to deepening my voice, that one actually came out with the desired effect. And as I was recording it and listening back to the filtered version, I actually laughed to myself. So that voice is a sheer winner. So the Mechagodzilla Month skits were, in my mind, a fun way to hint what type of mashups were going to be on the way for Mechagodzilla Month. So, like Absolute Zero was in prelude to Training Junction, Garuda obviously was in prelude to Pearl's Garuda, and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, because I had a lot of fun with the Mechagodzilla Month takeover, I am going to be bringing those 3 characters back. I had a lot of fun voicing them. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get around to doing something again, but I do want to do it again. Doing those voices definitely brought a smile to my face, and it is in my hope that you guys got some entertainment from them. So yeah, Gargamalt, Kelzamort, and Cosmodamos will be back. With a few twists maybe, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah. Right. Is there anything else I can think of? Oh yeah, obviously, if you've been staring at the screen for the past 11 minutes, you'll notice this new logo. Well, it's not new, but I figured I wanted a new channel banner after the Mechagodzilla Month one for both my YouTube, my Twitter, and my Instagram. And I figured, you know what? Let's do a little bit of experimenting and see if I can try and recreate the iconic Toho Scope title card. It's not the greatest, but it does the job. I tried my hardest to try and replicate whatever font they used for the Toho Scope. So that was a lot of blundering around in Microsoft Paint to see what would be the closest match. And then I just went from there. And then the hunt for that little colourful circle you see behind it in order to reflect the rays that came out of the original Toho emblem. So, yes, that is definitively all the updates. So, if you don't see the double event mashups on the 31st of August, then I'll probably be saving them for another date. Thank you guys so much for your ongoing support, all the comments, and all the love that these new mashups have received. It's basically once again reaffirmed that coming back and doing new stuff for this channel was one of the best decisions I've ever made. You guys are absolutely awesome. I will continue to do my best, but it probably won't be as frequent for the time being because, again, I don't want to crash and burn. I don't want to burn myself out, and I don't want to get bored of making these, and I don't want to feel fatigue. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. If you want to follow me on social media, there's always my Twitter and my newly opened Instagram, where there's always shenanigans too. I'm going to try and upload some more stuff to my SoundCloud account for those who have been following me. And I guess I'll end it off with this. The next 2 mashups, depending if they do not, I think you guys, especially a few of you in particular, are going to really appreciate these. And the one I'm currently working on now, I may dare say that it might be my absolute best work yet. So, be sure to stick around for that. As always, everybody take care, and catch you on the flip side. This is SUPERTOHOREMIX signing out. Stay gold.